This episode of Unboxing Europe is with Damian. Damian is a young member of the European Parliament from the Greens, founder of the Volt, RT Volt. We have debated with some of them in Portugal, but is also, just told me, an economic, a philosopher, and a German one. So welcome to Unboxing Europe.
Thanks for inviting me, for having me.
And I wanted to know a bit more on this experience of funding a political party. How was it? What was the main challenge? And how did young people become attracted to Volt?
It's very timely because we founded Volt 7 years ago when Trump got elected for the first time. And it was clearly the reason.
So we needed Volt 2.0 now.
Yeah, at least we need Volt now, because what we saw back then is that, an absolute crazy man could become the head of the most powerful nation on the planet, probably still. And we saw also the trajectory of more populist movements all across Europe. At that time it was Marine Le Pen, Chico Stelle Lega Nord, I don't know if Jega or whatever, if they were already there, but they all grew 2016, 2017 on the topic of migration. And so we felt like we have to do something to stop this trajectory. And to be honest, now with the new election of Trump, it's the same feeling I have. We have to really get active and understand that we ourselves have power. And for us, I think the politicization really started from understanding, okay, if there's an issue in politics, why are all of us and our friends trying to get around politics? We go to foundations, we go to development
academia, NGOs.
We're all interested in society, yeah? We really want to have impact for the good, but we would avoid politics. At least in my world, where I was from, we would avoid politics as much as possible. It's just old, maybe
hierarchical,
vertical
institutions.
That's shitty because we built this governance system to solve our common issues, and somehow we leave it to others.
And parties themselves, they were since the beginning, associations of people that had common beliefs for society and then came together. One were socialists, others were liberals.
I think my dream would be that everyone is a party member. Not that you have to love this party or agree to 100% what it's doing.
Not that you need to be a cheerleader or a club fan, but you need to be someone that really cares about community and society.
Yes, because if you have more people in parties, you have more competition for candidate roles, for MP roles, MEP roles, and then maybe you have also a better understanding of how democracy works. Yeah?
And that comes to a very critical point. So we have just had the re-election of Donald Trump as president of the United States, with a clear victory competing with the Democrats and with Kamala Harris, that could have been the first female president of the United States. We have seen in different countries that identity battle has been lost mainly by the left-wing forces or the progressive forces. The right has been focusing on economics. The right has been focusing sometimes with misinformation on migration. So in something that in the end they relate as freedom. If we go back to the beginning of the century, or after the Second World War, and then the foundation of the European Union, freedom was much more aligned with what we believe to be progressive left voices. Do you think that freedom is now much more connected with right-wing forces, regardless of what that means? Is still people voting for freedom, or is it a different concept that came with social media?
Yeah, so I think that you have to differentiate between the left and right debate that was always there and the far-right populist right. So the people who have tendencies to go into fascism, the people who have tendencies to be anti-democratic. I think me personally, I wouldn't have become politically active if it was the more normal, hey, let's lower taxes, higher taxes, a bit more social, a bit less social.
Polarized society. Politics would not probably get you into politics.
Polarization in itself, let's say within the spectrum of democracy, would also be a bit annoying, but maybe wouldn't have even done it. For me, the problem is that we have these forces which want to undermine democracy and that want to destroy the European Union as a construct of where we work together. I think this was that's the scary shit. Yeah, all the other stuff, I think we can talk about it. I do think your analysis is to an extent right. The conservatives are the ones who did a big job in also building the current European Union, for example, to actually overcome nationalism. Christian Democrats. So I think it's always not that simple. It depends on the individual country history. But I think what's really worrying for me is
Do you think that we should warmly welcome the election of a populist?
I think it's horrible. It's like the worst thing that can ever happen to have populists elected. So the conservative right, I actually have a lot of family that is conservative right. I have like, I think you can value security over privacy and be for cameras on the streets. I political belief, but it's just a different valuation of political priority.
And you can debate it.
You can debate it, and it's fun because you do it on a democratic stage. But as soon as you fall off that stage and try to cut it down, I mean, that's where I get really, worried, and where I think that's why we need to get active. Right? So that's, I think, the differentiation I would rather do. So the freedom, I hope, is there for all people in the democratic spectrum, and they have different definitions of what freedom is, more negative, more positive definitions of freedom. But the problem is those that sell you bullshit, populist fake news to be able to gain power and then destroy democracy.
On a last sentence, how would you convince young people to come to politics, and actually, what would you tell them in this?
I would say, look, if you feel powerless, if you feel that somehow things are not going in the right direction, bring your 10 friends along to any local party association, and you will basically be that local party association. We have so few people in parties by now that you have the power to change. Don't throw politics to the side and think about all the other ways to improve society. Now is the time to go into a political party, and you don't have to love it, but you can change it if you just bring enough friends along.
Thank you very much, Damian. This was Unboxing Europe with Damian, and don't forget, come to politics.